Hi, this is a Bitcoin Morning Brief. I'm Leah Walds. We're here with Jimmy Song and Tone Vase. Jimmy, how's it going? Where are you?
I am in San Francisco. I'm giving my seminar today and tomorrow. Got a lot of stuff to do, I guess.
Sorry about that. Tone, how are you doing?
Good, good. So I am still in New York. I was debating whether I was gonna drive up to the cabin slash trailer at like 6:45 in the morning to do the show from there and get my minor finished. I was not gonna wake up in time, so I may go there right after this. So there might be some videos from there later on.
Awesome, awesome. Jimmy, so you published a story last night. We're going to pull it up right now. Do you want to talk about what you wrote?
Yeah, so why Bitcoin works. I go through some of the ideas presented in Safe Dean's book, The Bitcoin Standard. Excellent book, by the way. If you haven't read it, please go get it. It's available on Amazon Kindle. It's also, I think, shipping hardcover very soon. I myself ordered a bunch of them. I think this is a great gift to just sort of understand why Bitcoin is valuable. And there's a long section on monetary history and things like that. Lots of useful things to just learn about history of how money came into existence and things of that nature. So great book. Check out the article. We won't get into it too much today, but yeah, please check it out.
Yeah, I'm gonna try and read it today so we can talk a little bit about it tomorrow. I also just got my hands on the Kindle version of Saif Dean's book. I read incredibly slow, so I'm really hoping that this will become a movie or there's an audio version very, very soon. But shout out Saif Dean. I'm hearing good things from everybody about your book.
Fantastic. All right, moving into Bitcoin payment systems. So Coinbase buys Earn.com and makes the CEO, I'm going to try this one, Balaji Srinivasan, its first CTO. So Coinbase acquired Earn.com, which was formerly 21 Inc., which is a company that allows senders to pay users in digital currency for replying to emails and completing tasks. So as part of the acquisition, Balaji, the co-founder and CEO of Earn.com, is going to become Coinbase's first CTO. Okay. So just from a VC background, what really interested me about this story is that it was only on April 9th, we covered it, that Coinbase announced their fund, which they said was specifically just an incubator working on early stage startups in the crypto and blockchain space and with a minimal amount of money in it. And so I actually see this as kind of a key man clause as an example to pick up Srinivasan and have access to his network and influence at Andreessen as he has a board seat there. So my hypothesis is that this acquisition was led by Andreessen, followed by the other institutional investors, really as their lost opportunity for this heavily funded, over 100 mil, right, startup to have a successful liquidation event. But who knows how much cash, stock, crypto was given to Coinbase, and therefore finally providing a positive ROI, right? And Jimmy, I'm also very interested because you're now working in VC as well. So just the last thing to note, Andreessen has invested, as you know, very, very heavily in lots of blockchain companies that aren't doing very well. So this may provide opportunities they need to kind of skirt things in. But Jimmy, how do you think Coinbase is going to integrate Earn.com's service offering?
I'm not really sure. I'm guessing that they want to make this available to all their users. Maybe this is sort of a way for them to gain more customers. Not that they really need it. They're getting like 10,000 signups a day. So I don't know. This is it's a very strange company because a few years ago I remember hearing about them and they had raised a bunch of money to do hardware and they more or less had to pivot to basically getting paid to get spammed on email. Yeah, I'm not sure where this company was going. Apparently, according to Balaji, the company is now, profitable and they have positive cash flow and all these things. In which case, I'm wondering, like, why would you sell if you're doing that well? So I'm kind of conflicted. I do know that he's a very, very smart guy. I've met him in the past, and he's desired for his network and things like that. He's very good friends with Naval, for example. He used to be general partner at Andreessen Horowitz. And he apparently they got something like 10 to 15 engineers from what I'm hearing. So I mean, these are all good things. I just don't know how much they apparently they paid back all their investors the amount that they received. It was sort of phrased in this very interesting way in Balaji's blog post. So I'm not sure if it was entirely 120 million or they issued new stock or something like that. But it's a very strange way to exit. I really don't know what's going on here, but I do know that Balaji is worth a lot, and obviously the 10 to 15 engineers that they have is worth a lot. Is it worth 120 million? I'm not sure, but maybe they didn't pay 120 million. They paid something less, and they just issued new stock to cover a lot of it. But regardless, the thing that I've seen from Coinbase's blog posts and things like that makes it clear that the personnel was very, very important, and that's what this acquisition seems like to me.
Absolutely, and a follow up to that. Potentially, Tone, it could be seen as adding new assets to Coinbase other than just the exchange, which they could potentially use the exchange maybe as a base, as a cash flow, and build out other potential revenue streams or assets. What do you think from a business model perspective?
I have no idea what Coinbase is doing. Again, I don't really want to pick on TechCrunch, but I think it was, it shouldn't have been too hard for them to Google and find out that Charlie Lee used to be the CTO of Coinbase. So I'm not sure.
He wasn't CTO. He was he wasn't even VP actually. He was like director of engineering.
Everyone was calling him CTO.
No, he was director of engineering. I remember.
So Coinbase never had a CTO.
Never had a CTO. Brian was a technical founder, so I don't think he felt the need to have a CTO.
Oh my God! Like, how is Coinbase still around? How is this possible? Like, the only way I can see that 21, I didn't even know they changed their name to earn.com. Did anybody know that? I thought they were still 21.
I did. Like that was their major thing for a while.
Jesus Christ, that company failed years ago. Like, I don't understand. The only way they could have returned that $100 million is if they put a bunch of their initial investment into Bitcoin and they were able to pay back the $100 million in fiat, and they still have a bunch of money from Bitcoin.
There's speculation that that's exactly what they did, that they kept
because that was a monster fail. Like Balaji couldn't do anything in the world of mining in the space, and he even had like Intel on his side, right? Like it was a complete disaster. I really don't get it, even from a business perspective. I don't know what they're doing, and we'll get to it in our next story. I guess you kind of joined the two. I don't know if Lee, if you want to show like the next story and mention that, and I'll talk about both of them and what a dumb idea it is to like buy talent through acquisitions, because I've been a part of that.
Absolutely. So it's completely in alignment with the first. It's another acquisition. Coinbase to boost Toshi dApp by taking features from recently acquired Cypher browser. So in this story, Coinbase, it's another acquisition specifically of Cypher browser, which is a free mobile Ethereum wallet and Web3 dApp browser. So it's similar to their project Toshi Ethereum network browser, my understanding, which was actually only announced this month as an Ethereum wallet, private messaging app, and a browser of Ethereum apps. And they're also naming, again, as Tone said, Cypher's founder, Pete Kim, as Toshi's head of engineering. So do you want to continue on what you were saying, Tone?
Yeah, it's if you're gonna acquire talent through through mergers and acquisitions, that's like the worst way to acquire talent. I was part of this back on Wall Street, where our risk analysis company and our biggest competitor risk analysis company, we both got acquired by like a company whose CEO was dealing in mergers and acquisitions a lot, and he was monopolizing all of the risk, the entire risk Wall Street space. What ended up happening was all of the talent waited for their first bonus and quit. And a bunch of them went into a small, young, nimble competing company to rebuild everything that they were doing to compete with each other. Acquiring human talent through acquisitions is horrible, especially when the company you're going into is doesn't know how to run a ship than the companies that you're leaving. Just because the companies that you're leaving wanted to cash out and get themselves paid. And like I don't again like your hypothesis, Leah, on why you think that is makes total sense to me. It's like the whole Occam's razor principle. Whatever is like the simplest thing. I mean, maybe Coinbase does want a bigger influence with Andreessen Horowitz, and maybe Andreessen Horowitz forced this deal on them. I have no idea. It's all speculation. All I know is that the 17-year-old, sorry, the 19-year-olds, because Coinbase does have some kind of an ID requirement. The 19-year-olds using Coinbase, all they care about is pumping their Ripple, as you can see from those tweets in your screen. Like, no one cares. All they care about is getting rich from the next pump, from the next scam that Coinbase is going to offer. Everything that they're doing is leading towards offering more ERC20. There's already a big speculation that they're just converting their company into another Bittrex. They just want to offer more altcoins, more ICOs. They're just waiting to get approval from the regulators. That's the first thing they want to do is offer ICOs. And everyone's waiting to, on their Ripple bags to make money. It's so funny how at the end of that article, like the Ripple, marketing director says that Ripple is not a security. How does he know that? There's no word on this yet. It's really amazing how these people are just totally like out of touch with reality.
Jimmy, it's very true, and there's lots of examples, to Tone's point, of augmenting staff when two companies merge or are acquired. What would you see as potentially also the issues with the tech trying to be seam together, or what would you see as going on as they were acquired with such similar systems in the past?
Yeah, I mean, we know a little bit about what Coinbase has been going through, because we know that back in December and maybe even November and times like that, it would go, the site would be down for a lot of it, and I was speculating even back then that their tech's probably a little long in the tooth. They've been around like 4 or 5 years. Their code is probably rotting a little bit. We know that a very good engineer, Charlie Lee, left. And there's probably other people that have left that company. So it's very hard to maintain a very large system unless you have really good engineers. This is why Google and Facebook won and Yahoo and MySpace did not. The quality of the engineers sort of determine the amount of features and like maintaining scale and things like that. Those are things that you can only do if you have really good engineers. And I mean, to Tone's point, acqui-hiring can be very a tricky business. I have suspect that they're not necessarily going to just sort of abandon ship and go to a competitor, because I mean the thing about Coinbase that a lot of people don't know, their big moat is regulatory. They have money transmission licenses in a bunch of states and things like that. It's not necessarily the tech that they're very good at. It's getting government approval to do various things, and this is why they've succeeded where a lot of other companies have not, is because they know which lawyers to hire and which legislators to talk to and which government bureaucracies to navigate. That's their big ability there, and not necessarily the technical back end. We know it took them a long time to get Segwit in. It took them a long time to put in like actually a second coin after Bitcoin. So the thing about this acquisition is that they have been making a lot more investments into Ethereum, and they announced not too long ago that they were doing ERC20 tokens. That acquiring 21 and sort of doing a lot of this stuff, like Earn.com, from what I hear, most of the emails that you had to open and things like that, they were like $1 or $2 for ICO announcements or something like that. It was a way for people to get a lot of ICOs to basically pump using a lot of people that are sort of in this space. So yeah, I don't know. It's very I mean, XRP, I think is kind of like, I don't understand why they're bringing that up. They have like 1,000 trolls. Believe me, I've dealt with them. And they're going to just talk about XRP no matter what. So I don't know why that's part of this story. It's really more about Coinbase and Ethereum, which may lead us into the next story, which is that I think Coinbase is targeting more Ethereum stuff because they think they have more control over their development, is my guess.
As a last follow-up to your comment about tech advantage, do you think potentially this could be seen as an acquisition as a way to remove Cypher as a competitor?
Possibly. I don't think they were much of a competitor, though. I mean, as far as I can tell, Coinbase has a much more significant percentage of the market share. A lot of people already kind of, use them as a way to go grab, coins or whatever. The thing about Coinbase is that Brian Armstrong said in the past, like, Bitcoin broke my heart. And that was mostly because it wouldn't do what he wanted, more or less, which was like do SegWit 2x or double the block size. So he wouldn't have to expend engineering power on on upgrading their systems to SegWit and things like that. So I think their view now is that Ethereum's a lot easier to work with, quote unquote, which is sort of a way of saying, okay, well, they have a centralized governance that we can go and influence. And this acquisition may be more about that. When they have an Ethereum browser, when they have more of that ecosystem, they're able to go and make the argument, hey, we have a bunch of these users. You guys should do what we say.
Right. Okay. So, Anton, unless you have one last comment,
just one last comment is like if Ethereum is going, like full blown ERC20, they're gonna have to acquire a bunch of people that they think know how to make wallets for all that garbage. So I wouldn't be surprised if that's what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, onto Lightning. So Lightning plus NFC, question mark, the new plan to bring Bitcoin to retail. So Igor Koda is working on to connect payment system technology near field communication, or NFC, which would allow a user to pay for an item just by holding their smartphone an inch away from the device it's paying to Lightning. So I think that this could be great and make Bitcoin payments practical again, especially in light that it's been dropped by Stripe, Microsoft, Reddit. They've abandoned it, as we know, as a payment method due to the high fees and long transaction times. Jimmy was just speaking about the innovations there. If it is easy to use and integrates into the Lightning network well, then I would see, and does allow for the fast, inexpensive, and convenient retail transactions, I could see it being great. So for me, this is a story of attempting to get mass adoption, which I think is what Bitcoin needs. But I'll throw it back to you, Tone, because I believe you disagree with me. You've mentioned in the past that you dislike the idea of Bitcoin being widely used by merchants because the merchants sell it for fiat currency, with the demand neutralized by supply, so it doesn't increase the net total demand over supply. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I mean, I still believe that. That's still true, but that's independent of this, I don't know why this warranted an article. Anyone that's ever been to Hong Kong knows that everything you pay for in Hong Kong is with an Octopus card, which is an NFC technology that they've had, probably before Bitcoin. I know I didn't get to Hong Kong till like 2014 or something, and they already had it then. So this is nothing new. This is just someone is, yeah, of course this is doable, and of course this is going to happen. The problem isn't technological here. The problem here is going to be getting businesses to adopt. Like, again, Hong Kong has had no problem creating NFC for everything in their country, from public transportation to any grocery store to any restaurant to pretty much anything. You don't even have to take the card out of your wallet. You just like put it up to the reader, and you can top off this card with cash at any 7-Eleven. And there's a 7-Eleven in Hong Kong on like every other corner. So, this is a non-story to me. I'm sorry, guys. This is something that should happen. It's something that I expect to happen, and it's kind of obvious. The problem is going to be more. All of this is gonna depend on the point of sale machines. Like the future of point of sale machines needs to A, have Bitcoin embedded, and B, have NFC fields in them. And then people will be buying these cards because they're very, very convenient. And the thing is, whoever is putting this initiative of point of sale machines all over, and this needs to work for public transportation as well, so you got to get your government on board. I mean, this is just a huge cooperative initiative for advanced technology. This is not specific to Bitcoin. Getting Bitcoin integrated is going to be, of course, a regulatory thing. But getting the bigger challenge is going to be getting your entire country on board. And the bigger your country, like America, like like Canada, like Australia, it's not going to be simple, getting everyone on board and updating everyone's payment systems. But as far as technological innovation goes, I think that's going to be the smallest challenge, to have, Bitcoin on that card as like a push system, or a pull system through the NFC. I think it's more of the cooperation problem.
Jimmy, do you think that the widespread adoption of NFC alongside the Lightning network as proposed here could move Bitcoin from a store of value to a medium of exchange more?
No. And I'll tell you why. First of all, NFC is overrated technology. Very few people use it. I mean, I know like for every Android phone user, that's like what they, like it was like on a lot of commercials and stuff like that, but it's actually not used very much. And in fact, most wallet software in the United States don't get used very much. How many people actually like use Apple?
Yeah, I've never used it. It's been in my Android phone and forever, and I've never used it here in America. But you know what? If I could use it like in Hong Kong instead of buying their octopus cards, I would.
Yeah, but it's like you were saying, it's a giant coordination problem, right? Like you can't just have it out there. It needs to be adopted by a lot of merchants. And Apple Pay, Google Wallet, Samsung Pay, they're like the list of like digital wallet providers is legion.
And Jimmy, I honestly think the problem here in America is there's too many choices. You can't. That's the problem. Like in Hong Kong, it's just the octopus card, right? It makes it simple. Here,
yeah. I mean, because it's a very small space, and like they were able to like go to every merchant and be like,
right. And they have one choice. They have one option, not 8.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's because like they see the potential in doing some of that, and they want a cut of every transaction or whatever. But more than that, the reason why I don't think this will work necessarily is because Gresham's law. A lot of people don't want to spend Bitcoin. They want to spend dollars. I'd rather spend my credit card issued debt than valuable Bitcoins. And I think most people know that. You don't spend an appreciating asset. You spend the thing that's not appreciating instead. And this is something that maybe like works better like in like 6-10 years, something like that, but not right now. I mean, you could make this, and I'm glad there are engineers working on this, because we'll probably have to figure this out. But it's I don't know. I'm just I don't know if this is what people use it for. This is what a lot of Bitcoin Cash people, this is why they split, is because, hey, we can't go buy a coffee or whatever. Yeah, I honestly don't think most people want to. So I mean, that's my position, I guess.
So on to more stories of issues that need to be figured out. So the Ethereum recovery proposal is what this is. So simply, it's a standardized format for presenting a request to Ethereum recovery of lost funds. So Jimmy, this seems to me to be an admission on part of Ethereum that their actual code and structure is truly flawed. And they're having to come up with a way to use really masking tape and kind of bubble gum as a way to compensate people for their mistakes. But what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, this is central government, more or less, right? Ethereum recovery proposal. This is old time, going before the king to beg for whatever justice that the peons want. This is a way for them to beg for the recovery of their funds, more or less. And we've said this before on the show. Ethereum is more or less centralized. They do a lot of the same functions that a government does. They've had a massive bailout where they before with the DAO, and this is another way in which they can do it. They force upgrades on everybody. They have like these giant nodes, and they can move to whatever technology they feel like without anyone's consent. And this is more or less what this is all about. Is hey, there's power. There's a central place that you can appeal to get your Ethereum back. And I mean, it sounds good because you can recover from your mistakes, but it's a Trojan horse, guys. Like once you have centralized power, then they can go and print money. They can do all sorts of. They can confiscate money. They can do all sorts of things that that the government does with fiat. It's really not that different. And the only thing is that it's in digital form or something. And instead of a central bank, you have like a Vitalik, I guess. I don't know. It's just sort of showing what they really are, and the division between Ethereum, Bitcoin, and every other coin, which is more or less like this, is becoming more and more clear.
Now, given to make everybody happy, they have a justification section here. Tone, would you like to speak to?
I love the examples that they provided. So they provided an example of what would justify something like this. And literally, it's just the most blatant incompetence I've ever seen. It's like, well, if you're collecting for an ICO and you've collected 500 Ether, but you accidentally put the wrong address for all of your people to buy your Ether, buy your token from, this would be a justification to get your money back. So it's like
let's protect people from themselves.
Right. So basically, here's what this is telling me, right? Like what this is telling me that Ethereum as a technology for smart contracts has no business being centralized, and it has no business having its own money, because none of this requires decentralization. None of it. It has no business, like there's no reason to have decentralization here. You're collecting money. Now, the guy collecting the money needs decentralization because this way he can just, get money from unqualified investors. But the last thing these unqualified investors should want is these incompetent people collecting your money in a decentralized way. And this is just going to be a bunch of different smart contracts on top of smart contracts, right? This is probably going to pass because everyone wants to have an easier way to scam other people, and everyone wants to get their money back if they're hacked. And then there's going to be another smart contract on top of it saying, well, in these cases, you can't get your money back. And then it's going to be like laws on top of laws on top of laws that are all going to be coded in, conflicting with each other. It's going to be I really hope they pass this, and then someone else comes up with a proposal of in which cases does this get blocked and have that passed too.
Yeah, I mean, you're getting into the slippery slope of adjudicating like really weird edge cases and things like that, and this is going to be kind of like case law, and then the governments are going to want to get involved and say like this is not going to end well.
Right, because if there's any justification you can make like this, then all a government has to do is say, yep, that $1 of those funds were used for criminal activity. It's all ours now.
Yeah. We'll see, and they'll go arrest Vitalik to do it, right? Like,
I hope Ethereum passes this. I really do.
All right, this is the mempool, I guess. Leah's muted, so she. Yeah.
My bad. Jimmy, can you speak to the mempool? A little surprise for everybody there with the mute.
Yeah. I mean, it looks like it looks the same as pretty much the last few months. Actually, it's a lot of very low fee transactions that are going through. If you need it right now, you maybe can do it for like 15 Satoshi per byte. But more or less, if you do 1, 2, 3 Satoshi per byte, you'll be able to get it in the next few hours.
Fantastic. Thanks, Jimmy. So pulling up just quickly a pretty funny story. Sorry for the switch up on the mempool there. Thought we'd throw you guys a curveball. So crypto investor reportedly hacked for 2 million on live stream. Internet calls foul. So this is pretty funny, and I'm actually going to pull up Whale Panda's tweet in a second, but it's pretty self-explanatory here. Watching the live stream, viewers can see exactly the point where Bellina was unexpectedly logged out of his Google spreadsheets, which is most likely the moment when the hack would have taken place. And there's some controversy around the IRS. Today is tax day. So I'll turn this over to you, Tone. What happened here?
Yeah, no, I mean, I have no idea. I've never even heard of this guy. I had no idea how popular his channel is. All I know is he had like $2 million worth of ERC20 shitcoins, and they got hacked. Do I feel bad for him? No, I honestly don't care. And was this malicious on his part to avoid taxes like Whale Panda is proposing? Again, I have no idea. Now, this is a good way to get out of your tax burden. Because this is the problem. You can't, and like none of these people learn, right? Like, sure, if you want to be famous, then be famous. But then if you're famous and you tell people how much you have and you show how much you have, you got a little bit of a problem. Okay. So yeah. So obviously when you blab up and when you show people on camera that you have $2 million worth of shit coins that just suddenly went up in price, you may have to liquidate some of those and pay your taxes. So either shut up and don't say anything, or do your thing. Now, I have no idea if he hacked himself, if he got hacked. To me, you're not supposed to show your trading accounts. I mean, I almost kind of do it in my retirement fund, but good luck hacking that from a traditional broker. That's going to be interesting if someone can pull that off. But yeah, no, you should never show your crypto stuff. That's all I pretty much say. I will also say how I don't understand how people think that after today, the price of Bitcoin is going to go up because everyone is selling to pay their taxes. Guess what? They're selling to pay their taxes. They're not going to have that money to put back into the damn market. Like, I don't understand this correlation, right? Oh, everyone is selling to pay their taxes, then they're going to buy. Well, what are they going to buy with if they're selling because they need the money to pay off taxes? I don't know. I don't get it.
Jimmy, is he innocent, or is this a silly joke, or what's going on in your opinion?
I mean, I think the theory that makes the most sense is this is a great way to tell the IRS he had a boating accident where he lost a lot of gold. Who knows? I don't know. It is kind of funny, but you can't really believe that much in the crypto space. Possibly got hacked, in which case that's fine. That's too bad for him, but that's what you get for using insecure practices and not having better security, especially if you're doing a YouTube chat and doing like Google Sheets and all that stuff. So yeah, that's on. I don't know. Maybe he's trying to gather sympathy and he didn't get hacked at all and he wants donations. I have no idea, but this, yeah, I don't know. It's not something that I'm going to comment too much on.
Following that it's tax day, Tone, what's going on with prices?
Yeah, let's go and take a look.
I'm going to be off, guys.
Yeah, Jimmy's got a workshop. Where's your next workshop after this one?
New York, right after consensus.
Right after consensus. Yeah, I'll be at consensus as well, sort of, or I'll be like, trolling around there. But yeah, see you guys in New York soon.
All right. All right, bye guys. This song is done.
All right. No, let me switch this chart. I'm not going to show that. All right, guys, here's the weekly chart. Look, we'll see. Everyone is convinced that as of tomorrow, the price is going to shoot up because all of these people would have paid their taxes. Look, the US isn't like the one and only driver of Bitcoin buying and selling, right? I mean, this was proven with the Kobayashi out of Japan. I mean, globally, there's a huge influence. Now, don't confuse the fact that Bitcoin is always quoted in US dollars around the world with the fact that only Americans are trading Bitcoin. That's not true. Like Bitcoin is traded pretty much around the world. Like if you add my followers from Australia and UK, it'll probably rival my followers from America. Okay, I'm very popular in those countries. So, but don't confuse the fact that Bitcoin is always quoted in USD with the fact that only Americans are buying and selling Bitcoin. So this tax thing only affects Americans. It's not gonna, I don't think it's gonna amount to much tomorrow. But people are convinced that the selling is gonna stop. And what's selling? We've had nothing but buying the last 2 weeks, right? So clearly this idea that last minute tax selling had something to do with it, it really, really doesn't. So here's the weekly chart. We're still below the trend line. And I'm expecting the price to get squeezed between the 50-week moving average and this trend line around the $7,600, $7,700 mark of this Fibonacci line. And if that happens, the probability is that it's going to drop from here, not rise. It could rise, but the probability is with the drop. Here's the daily chart. We have reversed right at a 9 on the daily chart, right below this declining trend line, right below this 50-day moving average. I mean, these are 3 points of resistance, and your setup trend line is not too far above. The 200-day is still increasing, so that one is separating. This is a big cluster of resistance, and I wouldn't want to mess with that. So let's see what happens. We are stabilizing a little bit this morning. So let's see what happens. Like I said in last night's Trading Bitcoin video, if you have an account size Y and you were planning to enter a position of size X, which should be significantly smaller of your trading account of size Y, which should be significantly smaller of your HODL account of size Z. Little math nerd out for you people. So if your position was going to be X, that position should have been short as of yesterday because of this cluster of resistance. Now, because you don't actually have any kind of momentum to the downside, I would have entered that short position as X over 3. I would still be in a short of X over 3. I would make that position X over, I would add another third to that position. So it would be 2X over 3 short. The moment today's price goes below 7,900, and then I would add the final third to that short position, making it a short position of X when tomorrow's low goes below today's low, assuming today's low went below yesterday's low. Okay, so there you go. Here is the 4-hour chart. There is nothing going on. The golden cross may be good, may be irrelevant. Here's the 1-hour chart. Again, nothing's going on. The only thing to look at is potentially the 12-hour chart. The 12-hour chart topped on a 9 absolutely beautifully. Now, it is possible that this is a 1, 2, 3, and 4 candle correction, and now we are going to shoot back up to the upside. That only becomes clear upon 2 things. 1, you get a green sequential count higher than the prior green sequential count. And 2, you are somewhere above the high vicinity, which to me is about 83.50, right? So I would want to see a price of 83.50 and a green number trading above a prior green number to consider, short-term bullish long positions. That's pretty much it for me. A glance at the S&P 500 going up. We broke the 50-day moving average. We need to close above the 50-day moving average. We have now opened and closed above the 50-day. We need one more candle. Now, I will say that we had that happen here, and they both led to downside. So the general strategy of being bullish above the 50-day moving average, when you have a candle closing fully above it, opening and closing above it, and making a higher high, this strategy has grossly failed on the S&P 500 the last 2 times it happened. But I will stick to the traditional rules that if tomorrow the S&P 500 gives us a higher high, that becomes another breakout for the S&P 500 back to the all-time highs. So I remain bullish S&P 500. Gold hasn't done anything. And again, just a comment. I'll probably do a trading Bitcoin today only because I'm home. Just a comment. Like, people continue to be really, really pissed off that I remain bearish in this market. I'm not. I mean, it's just bothers me. Like, why the hell would I be bullish right now? Me being bullish is totally irrelevant, and I would rather look totally dumb by Bitcoin going up to new highs by expecting new lows than me looking like a complete fool again, expecting Bitcoin to go a little bit higher than 20K. I was expecting 22 to 23, and over here on the daily chart, where I got caught in this bull trap like everyone else, because there was nothing here telling me to go short, okay? And I was expecting back to all-time highs, okay? I've been bullish long enough, okay? Being bullish here is just stupid, okay? I will say that. Now, I will also say that I have not sold any Bitcoin. So if I'm wrong, it's awesome for my portfolio. Also, I get a lot more clients and a lot more business at Bitcoin's all-time high. I had a way easier time getting people to pay me 0.1 Bitcoin for my phone calls and my seminars when Bitcoin was at $18,000 than I do when Bitcoin is at 6,000. So nothing good comes to me when Bitcoin price goes down. I am being objective. And what I'm seeing right now from the crypto space, where people are talking Bitcoin going up and up and up, they're falling into this gold bug mentality where either it has to go up or it's being manipulated. And I really hate that. And the more these people talk like that, the more it makes me want to take the opposite side of the trade. Shorting gold for the last 30 years has probably been the greatest trade ever on average. So, like, again, you got to be real careful with how responsibly you are when you talk about Bitcoin or other assets. All right, on that rant, I'm done, I guess. Oh, and check out my tweet. I decided to be a troll last night. Let me see.
You should play the video.
Yeah, but there won't be any sound. Oh, you don't need sound. All right, here's my tweet. Can you guys see that? Am I still on screen share?
Yep.
Here's my tweet. As Bitcoin continues to innovate its tech and scaling with Lightning and hopefully NFC, I guess me and Jimmy went the other way there a little bit. There's plenty of other initiatives from Chainco Labs and Blockstream, like anonymity features and all that, because I keep hearing about the Bcash top guys like Peter R. and what's his name, Craig Wright. Craig Wright has me blocked, so achievement unlocked, I guess. The fake Satoshi. I think they finally resolved their differences, and here's your video. Oh, can we make this bigger? No. In silence. I like it, actually.
You could do a voiceover.
Like, I saw this video back, like when I was working on like Wall Street and stuff. We were laughing about it all through the office. This video is old, guys. I saw it like 10 years ago. All right, there you go. All right, back to you, Leah.
I don't know how I can do a follow-up to that. But everybody, thank you for watching. This is a Bitcoin Morning Brief. You can listen to this later on the World Crypto Network's iTunes podcast channel. Thank you guys so much and have a great day.
Bye, guys.